Hello, this is the Suicide Widow Group, and this time we're going to be talking about, we're calling it advice to other suicide widows. And some of the advice that we're going to be providing is specific to suicide widowhood, and some of it is probably more just general to widowhood. So here we are.
My first piece of advice is about how to take advice, because you're going to get a lot of it, this video included. But I would say find a way to kind of file it away and take it as you're ready for it. Folks are going to throw a lot of stuff at you. And I know for myself, I just wasn't ready for it all. I haven't literally an email folder saying grief, and I haven't even read all of it yet. And I would also say, adjust it to what works for you and the level that you're at, and be able to kind of lower some of your expectations for that. You know, I had people sending beautiful videos for like grief yoga meditation for 30 minutes, and I couldn't walk down and get the mail in silence. So I had to kind of take that advice about trying to like be back in this moment and try to like ground myself just a little bit with like a necklace that would kind of like hit my chest in this rhythmic way when I would walk. It was my granddad's like horse nail necklace. It would just hit, and it was comforting to me. But that's literally all I could manage at the beginning. So that's my advice about taking advice. Make it your own and file it away, and don't try to take it all at once.
I like that. I heard you say the word expectations, and I wanted to kind of build on that because I was really surprised as a new widow how many expectations I learned that people had of me. And I don't even know if they were conscious on people's parts, but you're not obliged to be on anyone else's timeline and where they think you should be. I heard sentiments like, oh, well, that's too soon, or oh, you won't be ready for that. But everyone processes grief differently and at their own pace. And so whenever you choose to go through the closets, go through the clothing, take off your ring or leave it on, redo rooms in the house, when you start going out with friends again, there's no set time and there's no right time. And people will give their input on when they think the right time is for you, but do what you feel is right for you, and try not to compare your grief to anyone else's.
And I would say that along with that is that you should be kind to yourself and be gentle with yourself, because you will feel maybe pressure from other people to be on a certain timeline in your grief, or you may put certain expectations on yourself that maybe you're not able to meet at this time, you know, or sometimes you find that, like, you know, they call it like widow brain, where, you know, maybe your memory or your concentration or different things isn't quite what it usually is, and that's okay. Your best is good enough. The other thing that I would say, kind of along with being kind to yourself, is I tried to do at least one kind thing for myself every day, and it might be the smallest thing. It might even be just having a shower if that's the only thing that I could manage that day. But, you know, just trying to do one thing that's good for yourself.
I was going to talk a little bit about what worked for me that really helped me get help. So I was overwhelmed with like a wonderful community of people locally and from afar who wanted to do something for me. I think being a young widow, people were really generous in wanting to help me and my family. And so a couple of things that made that help feel helpful and not overwhelming was, the first was that I had a few friends that I sort of delegated as like the organizers of help. And so they were the people that I would send people to, and then they would help figure out what those people could do. They organized, you know, like a meal train, but they also just sort of were the people that would say like, hey, why don't you not reach out to her and give her a minute? And here's like a thing that could happen. I had my mom help me with thank you cards. A lot of people believe you shouldn't send thank you cards, and I am fully supportive of that. But if you do have people in your life that you feel like you need to send thank you cards to, I think it's very reasonable to have someone else write them. And so that was something that I did that was really helpful. And I think the other thing for suicide widows in particular was giving my friends language around what they could say and couldn't say. And for me, there wasn't a lot they couldn't say. I felt like it was really important to be really open about our story and Peter's struggles. But I knew that people weren't sure. And so being able to say, this is sort of what I believe, and we don't have shame, we just feel sad. And here is sort of the language that you can share with people when they ask, was really helpful for those friends that sort of communicated it out, because I didn't want to make 150 phone calls. So being able to make sort of 10 really difficult phone calls and having each of those people make further ones was really helpful.
So first of all, my advice would be to listen to Amy's advice. This is my second widowhood. Only the first one was not suicide. The second one was, and I still wasn't smart enough to set up somebody to send all the helpers to. So good for you, Amy. But going off of that, I guess I wanted to say there's going to be too much, right? There's going to be too much. So there are things that might feel more urgent. And feel free to handle those, especially if they're going to make a difference on whether you have a place to live or if your kids are safe or those kinds of things. A lot of stuff, though, is something you can put off. And if you think of it as purposeful procrastination, that's okay. Or just spread it out, right? So maybe in the past you could have done something in 6 months, but that doesn't mean you have to. For sure, get help. And these things might fluctuate. So in the beginning, for me, I really have a hard time eating when I'm under a lot of stress. So I would text one of my sisters and a good friend of mine every morning to tell them that I'd had breakfast. That way they knew I was out of bed. They knew that I had eaten. Sometimes they would quiz me about what I ate or how much I ate. But it helped them as well. So sometimes when you ask for help, you're actually helping them. Because then my sister's stress level dropped quite a bit because she knew I was out of bed and that I was eating. And then Anne's good friend also knew that I had fed the cat. So be really flexible, and know that you'll know what you need when you need it. And just try to spread it out. Don't try to fix everything all at once. That's my suggestion.